And we are live.
Live.
Live
Coming
with
to you
Bud
live.
Seigel and yours truly,
Johnny
Nies.
Nies.
What's up, Bud?
How you doing, Johnny?
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So I'm gonna jump right in. I got questions, bro. Lots of questions. So you told me the other day when text messaging that the original video of Jessica Reed Krause interviewing you, where were you? In a parking lot?
Across the street from the UCLA campus during the first radical Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Hamas, psycho kid, cat holding, emotional support animal, loving, blue haired, liberal Democrat activist group protest at the
Why were you there?
UCLA.
Why were you there?
4 hours beforehand, I was actually sharing some of my audios with Chris Norsig, and she just loved them. And I'd recorded for about 3 years, and I said, you know what, I think I'm ready. I think I sound like someone who could probably be on the radio, maybe.
Yeah.
Or, I thought my voice sounded good enough to where to be put on a platform. My friend Tomer, the guy that owns the next to our shop, he owns the dry cleaners. He said, why aren't you putting these audios out on like Instagram or something? No one's ever going to hear you. And I said, no. I said, actually, God will send somebody with a platform, so I don't have to put it on my own platform. And he said, dude, you're delusional and God is imaginary. And this is a guy who goes to synagogue every Saturday. But I said, now that you say that, because I've seen things that would happen at Paramount. I mean, I drove across the country and told my friend I wasn't going to make a phone call, wasn't going to submit a script to anyone, wasn't going to tell anyone about it. And I would just drive to California. And when I got there, within 12 months, I'd be walking into a major studio in Hollywood, and people would just show up and hand it to me. And that's exactly what happened. It actually happened 6 days after I got to LA, way earlier than 12 months. I saw these things happen like so many times. So I said, you know what, dude, just because you say that if I don't put it out on my own platform, no one's going to hear me, I'm purposely not sending it to anybody. I'm not going to show these to anyone. I'm not going to post anything. I've never been on Instagram. I just downloaded the app just to see some of our friends, what they were doing on there.
Circle it back, circle it back. You're going all over the place. Jessica Reed Krause.
I told him,
In the
I said,
parking
I'm
lot.
just going
How'd
to,
you
I'm
meet her?
going
Why'd
to,
you meet her? What were you doing at UCLA?
I said to him, I'm going to tell God to send someone with a platform so I don't have to put it on my own platform. And it'll be a huge platform where like millions of people will hear me, and I won't show it to anybody. They're just going to show up because God's going to send them. And he told me I was delusional. I said, well, mark my words. So a few weeks later, when I was really ready and I felt like, okay, I got some good audios, I think I could even share them with somebody with a platform other than my own, I went up to onto the rooftop where I live, and I prayed to God and lamented for like 45 minutes. I mean, I'm talking like, God, I know you hear me. You've answered me so many times. I'm not just hoping that you're going to send somebody. Send someone with a platform. Send this person with a platform, a huge platform, someone who will record me and put my voice out there. And God, I know you're going to do this, so I'm going to thank you in advance. And I need this done, so please do this. And I was like, I know you're listening. Do it, I was like screaming at God, do this for me. The next morning, I wake up, I get in the car, I turn on the radio, and the Jews are being attacked at UCLA campus, right? This rabbi in 2002 said I was going to do something for God. When I went into the synagogue on my birthday at Passover, and with Jamie Rosenthal, we were snorting cocaine. I went into the synagogue, and the rabbi, the oldest rabbi, Rabbi Leibowitz, came up to me, said, who are you? Showed me some scripture where my family was in there, like all some crazy stuff. Said I was going to be doing something for God in the future when the Jews were going to be attacked. He said the Jews would be attacked, and I was going to be doing God's work. I told him he had the wrong Jew. I was the worst Jew in the world. I was the worst Jew to my parents, my mom. I was on drugs, and I was going to LA and probably going to get a movie deal. And he's like, you're probably going to do all that, but you're going to make all these mistakes. He said, you're going to learn the wisdom of God, and then you're going to bring the Jews into the promised land. I'm going to do something for the Jews, he said. So I hear this on the news, the Jews are being attacked. I said, that must be the sign from God that I'm supposed to go to UCLA. I drove down there knowing the person with the platform would be there. I drive around. I can't find the protest. I'm like, where are these people? I said, it doesn't even really matter. Wherever I pull over, wherever I get out of the car, that's where the person will be.
Get out of here.
I swear to God, as Jesus Christ is my witness, and I got witnesses to all this, including Jessica Reed Krause. So I look at the gas station across the street from the campus. There's like blockade blocking the entrance. So I just make a left instead of a right. I go into the gas station parking lot. I see some like student kid with a dog, a little like, bulldog, Lhasa Apso, whatever, Shih Tzu, whatever. And he's like picking the thing up. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Are you a student? I was like, you're out of your mind. This is why we got protests on campus, because people like you walking around with an emotional support animal. I said, who has a dog in college anyway? Nobody's like, I never saw a kid with a dog. I said, you're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to manhood, to men, to women. You're not going to be able to protect women. You can't protect children because you're nurturing an animal.
Wait,
The
time
lamb
out.
in Second Samuel in the Bible.
Time
Right? So
out.
next thing you know, hold on, let me finish the story. So then Jessica Reed Krause is like taking a nap in her car because her girlfriend's using the bathroom right next to me. She wakes up and says, wow, that was fantastic. Can I record you? I said, sure. I was totally expecting you. And she records me, and the rest is history. And I told her, I said, when you put this thing on your platform, watch your life explode. Your numbers are going to like quadruple, explode. Your life's going to change. You're going to end up in like whatever. And she thought I was kind of nuts, you know, but within a matter of weeks and months, not only did her numbers go from 2.5 million views to 5 million views in like a couple weeks after she posted my stuff. Not that it was because of me. I just said God was going to be involved in this. And then her numbers went from like then 10 million views. And then she ended up on the campaign trail at Trump's house with all his kids and all that. And
Yep.
then she got like 1 point something billion views. Yes, some of them were repeats. So at least 700 million views she got. And then she's like, wow, dude, you were right. I predicted it. And by the way, Tomer, you were wrong. God's not imaginary. And I'll tell you something, dude.
Hold on.
That is an absolute true story.
I have a question.
Absolute
So
true.
you were literally in a parking lot in a convenience store yelling at some
At the
college kid
Chevron
with a
gas
dog?
station across from UCLA.
Yelling at a
guy with
college kid
dog
with a dog.
because I figured if I yelled at somebody loud enough, the person with the platform would probably be nearby. They would hear me, and then they would say, "Hey, I want to record you."
That's
and there
nuts.
she was. I didn't think it would be a female. I thought it would be some dude, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
And sure enough, there she is. And I told her I was totally expecting her, and that's how God works.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
God
Absolutely.
God wants His presence to be known. That these impossibilities, these things that are supernatural, dude, that happen. That when you pray to God and you know He's real, He will answer you when you know that, like God knows that I know He's real. I'm not
100%.
like hoping, like I hope He answers my prayers. Like I was like, God, you hear me? Do this for me. And I'm telling you, I'm going to tell the world that you did it.
Yeah.
And He's like, all right, here you go. And He told me on the radio, through the radio, UCLA was the spot. That's where the person would be. That's where Jessica Reed Krause was. She recorded
Got
me.
it.
She put me on her platform. And not only that, how many people came out of the woodwork from our childhood, including you, your daughter, all these people. Karen showed up after how many years I was spoken to her?
Yep.
She shows up on Substack
Karen,
like
your
OMG.
ex-girlfriend.
I love Bud.
All right.
By the
Hold
way,
on.
she said I was the most intelligent person she's ever known.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen.
Now this next.
I agree.
First, before I ask the next question, you mentioned a name, Jamie Rosenthal.
No, Jamie Rosenthal.
Rosenthal I was in a bad spot. I had no money. I got a girl pregnant. I was desperate, in need of help. I asked a friend of mine if there's anything he could do to lend me some money. He goes, no, but I'll introduce you to a kingpin. You can sell some weed. You got connections in New York, don't you? I was like, yeah, okay. So I make a phone call. My phone call leads to another phone call that goes to Jamie Rosenthal. Jamie Rosenthal can move my weed. So I call Jamie Rosenthal.
Was he at the United Nations Plaza by any
No.
chance?
He had an apartment somewhere.
On the
Beautiful
East River?
apartment. So I don't remember where it was.
On the East River. And he
16th
had tons
Street.
of weed, right?
He was moving tons of weed. So
That was me and Jason Davis at the United Nations Plaza. He came with his artwork. We let him stay there for one day. He moved into the apartment when we weren't there with all his artwork. And he had these pro boxers over the apartment saying it was his place. And that was our weed. That was my weed.
That was it.
We were moving like 100 pounds of weed a day.
Yeah. So anyway, let me tell my story now. Let me tell my story.
We were horrible. And guess what? There was all diplomats in that building.
I love that apartment.
It was everyone from the United Nations in there.
I believe it. It was a beautiful apartment. But let me finish my
sick.
story. Let me
It was
finish
a
my
dude doctor.
story.
He died and
Let me
left it to
finish
us.
my story. Can I finish my story?
Go ahead.
Dude, I sold a couple pounds of weed when I was in college in Arizona.
Yeah, I got some of that weed,
I
by
was
the way.
shipping them. Yeah, I was shipping them home. A pound here, a pound there.
In popcorn boxes.
Small little things, dude. The guy sets me up with this kingpin.
Hey, by the way, John Nies was a star in the football team for University of Arizona Wildcats, and he was selling weed.
Yeah, I was.
And so was Ray Brown.
Hold on, I was. Hold on.
So was Ray Brown. He was a football star,
Dude,
too.
but can I
Supermodel,
finish?
selling weed. Everybody sold weed, by the way.
Stop! Do I have a mute
Well, I just want to
button?
make everything
Do I
clear.
have a mute
Everybody
button?
sold weed.
I'm going to try to
It wasn't
find
like
a
you
mute
were alone
button.
in this.
I got to mute you. Anyway, so this kingpin that my friend introduced me to, he gives me first, I don't even know what I'm getting. He goes, yeah, here's what you do, here's where you go. He didn't say what you're getting, how much I'm getting, how much it's going to cost, none of that. I go to Washington and like 12th Street in the meatpacking district. I get out of my car. He tells me to wear a suit and tie. The boss man. I go there. The guy laughs at me. He goes, "Nice tie, dude." They look like bums, dude. They're in a pickup truck. They pull out 18 boxes, this big, giant boxes, and he's looking through all the boxes. He goes, "There's yours. Grind 61." I'm like, "Grind?" And he's like, "Yeah, your brother's Eric from the Grind, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, this is yours, Grind." So they gave me the nickname Grind. They give me a huge box. I go.
That was the MTV show, The Grind, by the way, starring
I don't
Eric
know
Nies
what
as the
I
host.
got in the box, but it's heavy.
From the real world.
I get to Ray Brown's house. I open it up, 61 pounds of weed, dude. I'm freaking out. I go to Jamie Rosenthal, give it to him. Guess what happens, bro?
You get busted.
He got robbed.
He's always
I owe
getting
the
robbed.
kingpin, who threatened to kill me if I screwed him over, $77,000. Jamie Rosenthal gave me 14 of it. I had to spend the next 3 years of my life paying back the kingpin, dude. Terrible. Anyway,
Well,
back to the story. We only have a couple more minutes. Real quick, what are you doing with Jessica now? What's your relationship like? Keep it short. We only got a minute, 2 minutes.
Well, she published my stuff on Substack, and then she ends up, she published a whole bunch of audios. One was like endangered animals, my take on oil isn't a pollutant, a doomsday 4th of July audio to my friends and all you guys that did something. Famous people suck. That was a really funny one. Stuff about, Rick Solomon and some other people I was living with. And then Matt McConaughey story, when I was living next door to him in Malibu after I lost the Paramount deal and my inheritance and ended up in that mansion on the beach. All these crazy stories. She was like
putting them out onto her Substack.
She puts, her publications on Substack. You see how she publishes stuff, like articles and everything?
Okay.
She published stuff about me, our meeting. She wrote about me and then had like my audio and pictures and all this weird stuff on there. Stuff about Jerry Garcia compared to Donald Trump. All kinds of crazy stuff. Like she put a bunch of publications out.
Basically, Jessica is doing with you what I've been wanting to do with you and all of our friends for the longest time, which is introduce
she
you.
actually did a piece of what me and you have been talking about for like 30 years.
Yeah.
But so anyway, then she ends up on the campaign trail and her numbers explode, her whole life changes and all this stuff starts happening. And then she's like, "You were so right. I can't believe like your prediction was all right." And I said, "Look, I was trying to tell you that this is not just a random meeting." And she said, "I don't believe it was either." And, a couple times I thought she wasn't ever going to talk to me again because I was sending her like giant novels of text messages telling her to drop this, do that, attack this community. I was like, there's a new sheriff in town, basically, and I was trying to dictate how she's going to run her entire platform.
Text messages like this?
Yeah, sort of.
This is Buddy Beagle. This is Buddy Beagle.
And I thought she's never going to talk to me again. Next thing you know, she answers every single one of them.
Hold on.
She 3 days will go by and she'll answer every message. She'll respond to everyone. She sends me emojis.
To you? I don't.
All of them.
Mine's green. Mine's green. Look how much I respond.
And you know what she does? She goes through them all and she reads them all.
Let's read one.
And she responds to them all. And I was like, wow, that's stunning.
Let's read one. Here I just stopped.
How did she find the time to do that?
This is what I just stopped. This is from Buddy Beagle. Gas is clean energy. Oil is green energy. Black coal, smoky burning carbon. That's actually the cleanest greenish energy. It just looks like a pollutant. People think black smoke is pollution. That's a lie. Volcanoes in Hawaii, they make everything greener. These are all kinds of things we need to message. Science actually proves that burning oil, burning leaves, these things are green. Look at how clean California got with more cars burning gas. We have cleaner air. We can see further. We have more bugs, more water. Dude, what do you mean? There's smog all over LA, no?
Smog made from carbon, like burning oil, is CO, right? Carbon monoxide. Carbon with one oxygen molecule.
Right.
Oil is carbon and hydrogen. When you burn it, it turns to carbon monoxide, one oxygen molecule. The layers in the atmosphere, the lightest is carbon monoxide. The second layer is oxygen. The third layer is CO2, where the plants eat it, right? How do you get CO2? You get CO2 not just from breathing out, but you have to burn stuff like oil, volcanoes, burning leaves, right? That creates carbon monoxide.
Forest fires.
It goes up, forest fires, goes up into the atmosphere, looks like smoke, but after a matter of weeks, 2 months, it collects oxygen molecules, turns to CO2, it lowers down, and the plants flip out, right? Look up the science, what it says about not putting carbon into the air in the desert to protect the delicate desert, like ecosystem, which
All
is
right, let's ask
basically
anyone
snakes,
out
spiders,
there that's
and like
listening.
nothing out there. It's dead, right? They said they would have all kinds of new plant life, new animals, water. They don't want that. They want to protect the dead life of scorpions, spiders, snakes, everything that'll bite you and poison you, freezing cold in the night, burning hot in the daytime, and then when you're half dead with blisters all over you, paralyzed by all kinds of poisonous snakes and spiders and scorpions, then vultures come down and peck your eyes out. That's about it, the desert, right? But you got volcanoes and carbon in like Honolulu burning oil every day with cars, and you have the longest lifespan. You have the greenest anything. LA has now new bugs, mosquitoes. We can see forever. The air is cleaner, everything. The more you burn, the more CO2 is created from the CO.
All
It
right,
turns
let's
CO turns to
get some
CO2. So
confirmation
it's a
on
lie,
me.
dude. All the climate, look, carbon monoxide's a lie. It's not a pollutant. If it was a pollutant, how come we're living longer breathing it in all day from all the cars? I mean, really, dude, 30, 40, 50 years, we're breathing in smog from a car. It hasn't affected you at all. I mean, dude, wake up. Like, we have been lied to by science, lied to by Harvard. Look at Harvard. Harvard has radical jihad, radical Islamics. You got first-year med students learning that they have to put 12-year-olds on hormones and get their genitals cut off to save their life, and that's gender-affirming care. That's coming out of Harvard. So you think the science about carbon is correct? Like there's a carbon footprint? I wish there was. I wish the carbon footprint would come down and kick every professor out of that school and shut it down. Stomp on it with the carbon footprint. It's a lie.
Okay, take a
It's a
breath.
lie.
Take a deep
Carbon
breath.
is good. Dude, I want a t-shirt. I heart carbon.
Yep. All right, we're
I
gonna
love carbon.
let's see if there's any
I want to
type of
inhale it and
let's
hug it.
get some
That's my
confirmation on
emotional
everything
support
Bud just
animal.
had to say
Carbon.
from if there's any environmental scientists out there that can confirm whether or not what he said is true or not. I don't know any of that.
Dude, just look up what carbon monoxide turns to in the atmosphere. It turns to CO2.
Okay.
CO2 is what feeds the plants.
Gotcha.
Dude, greenhouse gases.
All
Look
right.
up greenhouse gases. It's carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water molecules.
Yeah.
Do you think greenhouse gases are deadly? If they're oxygen, water molecules,
All right,
and
I'm gonna look
like
it
the
up.
stuff you need to breathe?
Settle
like, dude,
down,
greenhouse
dude. Take a
gases.
breath.
How come plants live
Take a
in
breath.
the greenhouse? How come beautiful flowers grow in the greenhouse if greenhouse gases are
We do
are
have beautiful flowers.
Like, I think of how it's lunacy.
Yeah,
People are so
okay.
stupid. I can't even take it anymore, dude.
Okay.
Like, you don't
All
need
right,
to be
hold
a
on.
scientist to know that they're lying to you. And get this, like I said, how come the desert has no life if
Hold
there's no
on.
volcanoes, no burning leaves, no burning oil,
Yep.
and you have nothing but dead dust and dirt with a tumbleweed and a cactus you're lucky to squeeze some juice out of if you dig deep enough? You got
Okay.
nothing living, right?
Right.
How come volcano areas are fully green with that stuff blowing into the air, carbon monoxide all day long? How come Honolulu, with all the cars and the volcanoes, have the longest lifespan in almost all the whole world?
It's a beautiful place.
It's because of carbon.
It might have something to do with there's no stress, there's healthy
Oh,
food.
sure. So how about the people in India with no stress that die?
Nutrient
The babies
dense.
die before they're 5
The
years old.
soil's uber nutrient dense.
Oils. It's oils, right? What about all the
soil.
green plants? So the green plants
All
are
right, hold
growing
on,
from no
time out.
stress. You
Can I
mean,
say
You
something?
mean people not having stress is making the plants greener?
Can I interject?
What makes all the plants grow, John? What
Can I
makes
interject?
plants and animals? What makes life? What
Bud.
creates life? Oxygen, water,
You're right.
and carbon dioxide.
I'm not
What
arguing with you.
produces carbon dioxide?
I'm
Plants,
not
right?
arguing with you.
How
I'm
do
not
you get
arguing with
plants?
Time
How
out.
do you get plants to grow?
I got you. I agree.
Water.
You're
What
right.
creates
Stop
water?
talking. Ready. We went way over the 15 minutes, which is no
Are we?
surprise. Way over. No surprise. So we got to cut this one off. We're gonna go on to the next one. We'll be
We
back.
have to do another one.
You
This
obviously
sucks.
have.
And plus, I look terrible. Look at me.
No, you
I look like a disaster.
No, you look happy.
I got lines. Dude, I used to be one of the beautiful people. Hey, Jessica, I was like an Adonis. Wait till you see the pictures that Sweet Lou's sending.
Are
I
you
look
still
like a
shredded?
movie star.
Dude, are you still
My
shredded?
nose grew like 5 times the size. One of my lips are
Our
going away. Like,
noses
I got
have
lips.
gotten bigger. Mine too. Dude,
My
are you
lips are
still
going
shredded?
away.
Answer the
Hey,
question.
It's going to be like this one. Hey, Jay.
Are you still shredded?
Let's feed the pigeons in the park.
No? Yes?
What?
Are you still shredded?
I'm shredded.
Good. All right.
Want me
we're
to pull my
signing
shirt off right now?
We're signing off.
Should I flex?
Yeah. Flex that.
You see the traps?
You looking good, dude.
I'm like a crab over here.
Are you married or single or what?
I've been engaged 3 times and broken engagements 3
Are you
times.
dating right now?
I live with a dog. That's considered a child now.
Are you dating or no?
A golden retriever.
Are you available or not?
Dude, sex outside of marriage is a sin against God.
Okay, well, I didn't ask you if you're having sex. I said, are you available? Because there's There's going to be some ladies out there.
What are
that
you
gonna
trying
be-
to? You're gonna put my name in a geriatric center somewhere?
I'm
Like,
just wondering if you're looking for
you know,
love.
old ladies with
There's
dialysis
going to be a
with
lot of
one leg.
ladies looking for love that are going to watch this. They're going to say, I love that guy. What's your status?
My status.
Are you available or not?
I will have a relationship with a woman who loves Jesus Christ
Yep.
and can look past the aging, wrinkled, shriveled head that I have today. That looks
I
like
have,
that guy in Beetlejuice. You remember the football player in Beetlejuice that was
Yeah.
in purgatory with the shrunken head?
I have that
Every time
exact
every
thing.
time I look at myself, I think of that guy.
I have that exact thing. I have a woman that
You
loves
know,
me,
people say,
that
"Oh,
loves
dude, you're so
Jesus,
hooked on looks." Dude, when
that
you were
loves
one of the beautiful people and you had like entourages of beautiful women following you everywhere,
me.
supermodels, and no, you too, but you still look good, dude. I don't. I've lost it. I look like sort of a turtle, froggish, like the human turtle frog,
Bro,
a
embrace
froggle,
aging. Embrace the aging. We're getting
a froggle,
gray. We're getting
sort of
wrinkles.
a turtle frog.
Teeth are falling out. I gotta go. I love you, buddy.
So what? That's it?
Yeah, I gotta go. We've been on for half an hour. How long do
Really?
you want
30
these
minutes?
episodes to be? We're
Seems like
supposed to
only
do
a couple
15.
seconds. How's the tree doing behind me?
It looks good. We're supposed to do 15 minutes, but you talk too much.
You don't let me finish.
I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
All right, we got to do another one.
Later. I'll talk to you tomorrow.